My parents used my birthday money for my sister's iPhone, so I left, built an app, got rich, and they begged for a reply I'll never send. I'm a 16-year-old guy, and my parents made it clear I was born to be responsible, not celebrated. That morning, I woke up hoping this birthday might be different. Just once, maybe they'd remember what it felt like to make someone feel special. There was no happy birthday at breakfast, just the sound of the blender and my mom telling me to take out the trash before school. I told myself it was fine, they probably had something planned for later. I kept my expectations small. I always did. When I got home, there was an envelope waiting for me on the kitchen counter. My name written in my dad's quick, slanted handwriting. For a moment, my chest lifted, but inside was nothing, just a blank card. My mom noticed the confusion on my face and said, almost casually, "Oh, honey, your aunts sent you some cash again. We used it to help Megan get a new iPhone. You don't mind, right? You already have a phone that works." I just stood there, staring at her. The air felt heavy, like the walls were closing in. Megan came down the stairs at that exact moment, holding her brand new phone, giggling as the screen lit up. "Thanks, Mom, Dad. Look, it's the one with portrait mode." She brushed past me like I wasn't even there. I wanted to say something, but every word I thought of got trapped in my throat. My dad noticed my silence and said, "Don't be selfish, son. You're older. You should understand these things." That's what they always said when it came to her. You're older. Be understanding. I went to my room and closed the door quietly. No cake, no dinner, no celebration, just the muffled sound of my sister's laughter through the wall. I sat on my bed, staring at the blank card, and thought, maybe this is the year I stop waiting for them to see me. They say every family has a favorite. In mine, it was never subtle. Megan's framed dance trophies lined the hallway. Mine won academic medal. One robotic certificate were stuffed in a dusty drawer somewhere, maybe still in the moving box they never unpacked. My parents didn't even try to hide it anymore. Megan was the golden child. She got new clothes, new gadgets, even a spa day once, just because school was stressful. When I said I was stressed, my dad would scoff and say, "You don't even do anything besides homework." One Saturday morning, I heard Megan yelling from the living room. She was crying because her tablet froze. "I have a Snapchat streak going with 15 people. This is ruining my life." My mom rushed over, stroked her hair, and said, "We'll go to the Apple store, baby." "Don't worry." I walked in to ask if I could borrow the car for a school project meeting, and my dad didn't even look up from his phone. Walk builds character. I wasn't jealous, at least not in the way people think. I didn't want a new phone or someone to pamper me. I just wanted to matter, to be seen, to have someone ask how my day was without it being a setup for a chore list. One night, I heard Megan complaining through the thin wall between our rooms. "He's always in his room. It's weird. He doesn't even try to hang out with us." My mom replied, "He's just ... different. I think he likes being alone." That was the moment I realized, maybe they had convinced themselves that I didn't need love the way Megan did. Maybe they believed I was some kind of emotionless machine. And if that's what they thought, then maybe I'd become exactly what they expected. After the birthday mess, I stopped waiting for anyone to celebrate me. I started spending more time in my room, not out of sadness, but to build something they couldn't take. I'd always been into tech, coding, app design, forms. I loved it all. I found this online course about building simple productivity tools and dove in. Nights turned into 3 a.m. debugging sessions, lit only by the glow of my old laptop. I was creating something. For once, I wasn't just existing, I was building. I told myself it was just a project for school, but it became more than that. It was a planner, at basic, but clean and fast, designed for students like me who wanted less chaos and more control. I even made the logo myself. I felt proud and terrified because no one knew what I was doing. One night, as I was testing the notification system, my mom barged in without knocking. "You've been glued to that screen for hours. Megan thinks you're ignoring the family on purpose." I looked up, exhausted. "I'm working on something." She crossed her arms. "You mean hiding? You're always hiding." I didn't respond. There was no point. She didn't want an answer. She wanted guilt. As she walked away, I heard her mutter, "He's so cold sometimes." Cold. That word echoed in my head long after she left. It wasn't the first time I'd heard it. My dad used it when I didn't hug Megan after her recital. My aunt used it when I didn't want to join a family karaoke night. But the truth was, I wasn't cold. I was tired of performing for people who didn't clap that night. I saved the app build to a flash drive and hid it under my mattress. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I wasn't building it for them. I didn't expect them to care about the app. I knew better than that, but I thought just maybe they'd care if I got into something real, something that mattered to people outside this house. There was this elite summer tech camp hosted by a state university. Only 20 high school students got in, and it came with a scholarship. I applied in secret. I didn't tell anyone, not because I was hiding, but because I wanted the win to be mine. Just once, weeks passed. No email, no letter. I told myself it was a long shot. Maybe I wasn't good enough then one morning. I was helping my mom carry the laundry basket to the basement when I slipped on a stack of old mail she'd left near the door. As I bent to pick it up, I saw a tan envelope with the camp logo. Opened, torn dot, my name was on it. I waited until she was out of the room, heart pounding as I pulled the rest of it out from behind the cabinet. Congratulations! You've been accepted into the Accelerate Summer Tech Scholars Program. My hands started shaking. I had gotten in. Weeks ago, my acceptance letter had been thrown in the pile like junk. That night at dinner, I asked casually if any mail had come for me lately. My mom didn't look up from her phone. Just bills. Nothing important. I stared at her, trying to find some flicker of guilt. Not even from the university. She blinked, then shrugged. Oh, that. I didn't think it was a good idea. You're not ready to be away from home. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just nodded, but inside, something scorched clean through me. They didn't just forget me. They buried me, and I finally knew IE couldn't stay here. After I found that acceptance letter, I stopped pretending. No more family dinners. No more waiting to be asked how my day was. I spoke less, listened more, and started planning because if they weren't going to let me go, I'd leave anyway. I took on a part-time job at the local bookstore. Minimum wage, mostly after school shifts. My parents didn't ask why I suddenly wanted to be out of the house so much. They assumed I was being dramatic. My dad even said, maybe some time working will teach you appreciation. I smiled. I let them believe it. Every paycheck went into a tin I duct-taped under my bed. Rent estimates, bus fare, cheap hostels. I researched everything down to the hour, and all the while, my app evolved. I added categories, updated the calendar sync, built in a dark mode. I posted a version on a niche student productivity forum. A few kids downloaded it. A few became a dozen. Then 100. One even messaged me saying, "This helps me manage my ADHD. Thank you." That message hit me harder than any birthday card ever had. 2 weeks later, I came home from school and found Megan crying in the kitchen. Her phone had a small scratch, and my mom was already browsing Amazon for a replacement case. They didn't notice me walk past in my room. I pulled the tin from under the bed. It was heavier than I expected. That night, while the house slept, I packed one backpack, just essentials: laptop, charger, 2 changes of clothes, that USB stick with my app code, and the acceptance letter. I didn't leave a note. I just closed the front door, gently behind me, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged to myself. The bus ride out of town was silent, except for the hum of the engine and the sound of my heartbeat. I didn't know where I was going, just that I couldn't go back. I ended up in a small city 3 hours away, renting a room from an old couple who didn't ask too many questions. It smelled faintly of detergent and dust, but it was mine. During the day, I worked shifts at a corner cafe. At night, I coded until sunrise. Coffee, code, sleep, repeat. My laptop ran so hot, I'd prop it on a baking tray to keep it from overheating. It was lonely quiet, in a way that could crush you if you weren't careful. But every line of code felt like defiance. I started posting development updates in online forums, nothing flashy, just honest progress notes. One morning, a small productivity YouTuber messaged me, "Hey, I reviewed your app on my channel. Hope that's okay." I clicked the link. He'd praised the design, saying it was weirdly addicting for staying organized. I laughed, half in disbelief, half in relief. Within a week, downloads spiked. Then, messages poured in. Students, freelancers, people who said my app helped them stay afloat. I released a small paid version, $1.99. I thought no one would buy it. But by the end of the month, my PayPal balance had 3 zeros. For the first time, I didn't have to count every coin at the grocery store. I wanted to tell someone, to share the win, but there was no one to call. No one who'd be proud without asking. So how much are you making now? Instead, I took a screenshot of my first payout and set it as my lock screen, my quiet reminder that maybe, just maybe, I didn't need them to believe in me. It had been 4 months since I left. For months, without a single word from them. I figured they'd just moved on. Maybe they told people I was off at college or at some internship. They were good at hiding things, pretending. But one morning, as I was grinding beans behind the cafe counter, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened it and there it was. Hey, it's Mom. Megan's phone got stolen. Can you help us buy her a new one? No, how are you? No, we miss you. Just straight to the ask dot. I stared at the message for a long time, waiting for it to turn into something else, something human. But it didn't. That was it. Later that night, I got another message. You've changed. Don't forget where you came from. Where I came from. I came from birthday cards with no money inside, from hand-me-down guilt and being told to smile while watching my dreams get tossed in the trash. I didn't respond. I didn't block the number either. I just let the silence sit there. Let her talk to it. But it messed with my head. I kept checking my phone, waiting for a real message. One with remorse. One that didn't treat me like a wallet. It never came. I walked back to my room, sat at my desk, and stared at the code on my screen. I couldn't focus. Her voice, that message, kept replaying in my head. I slammed my laptop shut. That night, I sat on the floor, legs pulled to my chest, and thought maybe they'll never say sorry. Maybe they don't think they have to, and worse. Maybe part of me was still hoping they would. I thought I could block it all out, just keep building, keep moving, outrun the noise in my head. But guilt has a way of sticking to your ribs. And silence starts to sound like their voices after a while. The app was growing faster than I could handle. Users kept requesting features. Bugs popped up daily. I barely slept. Meals turned into instant noodles and black coffee. My vision blurred sometimes from staring at the screen too long, but I pushed through it. This was all I had. There was no backup plan, no safety net. One night, I released an update that accidentally wiped user data for 300 accounts. My inbox exploded. Angry emails. Refund demands. One person said, I trusted you with my entire semester. That one hit the hardest. I tried to fix it, but my hands were shaking. I hadn't slept in almost 2 days. My code kept breaking. I broke down crying over the keyboard, jaw clenched so tight I gave myself a headache. I actually typed out a message to my parents. I messed up. I need help. I hovered over the send button for almost 5 minutes, but then I imagined my dad saying, Told you this computer stuff was a waste. I imagined my mom asking, Well, how much money did you lose? I imagined Megan laughing in the background. I deleted the message. Instead, I posted on a developer forum just raw honesty. What had gone wrong, what I'd tried, what I needed. Some stranger replied in 5 minutes. Then another. By morning, 2 of them had helped me fix the bug. They didn't know me, but they saw me. They cared. And it broke me in a way my parents never could because it made me realize just how low my standards for love had been. After that crash, something shifted, not just in the code, something in me. I stopped waiting for permission to take up space. I stopped building from pain and started building with purpose. I messaged the 2 devs who helped me and asked if they'd join me on a freelance basis. One was a college student in India, the other a mom of 3 who coded at night after her kids slept. We weren't a team on paper, but in practice, we worked like clockwork. We fixed the bugs, streamlined the backend, and redesigned the UI. I added new features based on user feedback, and this time, I didn't try to do it all alone. I gave credit. I asked for help, and people responded. A few months later, a productivity TikTok account with 400K followers featured the app. Downloads skyrocketed. Overnight, my email was flooded with affiliate offers, podcast invites, and even a partnership inquiry from a startup incubator. But I kept my face out of it. No LinkedIn bio, no interviews, no backstory. just a name parstracanned, a logo I. Designed at 3 a.m. with shaking hands and zero confidence, I moved into my own place. Small, modern, quiet, no yelling behind closed doors. No passive-aggressive silence at dinner. Just peace. Every month, I'd wire a chunk of my earnings to a separate savings account labeled the Escape Fund. Not because I needed to run again, but because I'd promised myself I'd never depend on anyone like that again. Still hadn't responded to my mom's texts. A few more had trickled in mostly vague emotional bait. Things like, "You'll regret cutting off your family, and we were just trying to protect you." But they never once said, "I'm sorry." And by now, I was starting to believe. They never would. On my 20th birthday, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. My team worked remotely, and I hadn't told a soul it was my birthday. I'd stopped celebrating it years ago. Stopped giving it power. At the door was a delivery guy holding a small, square package. No return address, no note. Just my name, handwritten in familiar cursive I hadn't seen since high school. I knew immediately. Inside was a photo album, a cheap one, the kind with sticky plastic pages. On the cover, in silver letters, "Our family memories." I opened it halfway. First page, me at 5, blowing out candles with Megan hugging me from behind. The caption read, "Your 5th birthday back when we were whole." I closed the album. There was a folded note taped to the back. "We're proud of you. Please come home. Love, Mom and Dad." No apology. No ownership. Just nostalgia and expectation. Later that night, I got a call from a cousin I barely talked to. "Hey, just so you know, your parents are kinda struggling. Megan dropped out of college. Your dad's job cut his hours." They didn't want me to tell you, but I didn't say anything. Just let the silence fill the call until he mumbled an awkward goodbye. I looked at the album one more time. I wanted to burn it. Or throw it off the balcony. But instead, I slid it onto a shelf between old textbooks and forgotten receipts. Let it collect dust. Let it sit exactly where that version of me belonged in the past. I didn't respond. I didn't text. I didn't send money. I wasn't angry anymore, just done. The more distance I put between myself and them, the more their messages multiplied. Emails, voicemails, even handwritten letters. Always framed in soft language, always laced with guilt. Family forgives. Don't punish us for one mistake. You'll regret this when we're gone. But never once did they say, "We failed you." Never once did they ask what they could do to make it right. It was all about their pain, their embarrassment, their empty chairs at family dinners. I drafted a message once, a long one, 6 pages. I wrote about the birthday card, the stolen acceptance letter, the way they made me feel like a burden in my own home. I wrote about Megan's iPhone, about the night I left, about the message asking me to buy her another one like nothing had happened. I wrote about sitting on a cold floor in a rented room, crying over crashed code and almost crawling back to them out of desperation. I ended it with one line: "You lost me the moment you decided silence was easier than love." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I deleted it, because they didn't deserve that closure. They didn't earn my truth. Some nights, I'd reread their messages just to remind myself what manipulation disguised as concern looks like. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, dripping with nostalgia, drenched in the word family, like a shield. But family doesn't steal your voice and then beg you to speak when it suits them. I blocked every number, unsubscribed every email, not out of anger. Out of peace, I'd said enough. And they'd heard nothing. This year, I threw myself a birthday party. Nothing big, just a handful of people who knew me now, not who I used to be. My dev team flew in. A couple of friends from the cafe came by. We ordered greasy pizza, laughed over bug stories, played Mario Kart on a projector screen. There was no forced small talk, no one asking me to give more than I had. Someone brought out a cake vanilla. It had candles. Someone said, "Make a wish." I didn't close my eyes. I didn't need to, because I was living the wish already. A quiet apartment. A business I built from nothing. A life I didn't have to shrink myself to fit into. I blew out the candles with a small smile and said nothing. Just let the moment sit there. Later that night, after everyone left, I cleaned up the living room and opened the bottom drawer of my desk. Inside was an old envelope, creased, faded, but still sealed. The university acceptance letter. I never threw it out. Not because I couldn't move on, but because it reminded me why I had to. Next to it was the unopened photo album, still untouched. Still pretending those years were golden, I looked at both for a long moment, then gently pushed the drawer shut. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need an apology anymore. I didn't even need them to know they lost me, because the truth is, they didn't take my future away. When they used my birthday money, they just gave me the reason to build a better one. And this time, I'm not sharing it.